it's Em, the beginner crafter. Welcome back to another crochet and craft tube video. This time again, just crochet, not really, I didn't really have the time to make any crafts because I was busy making my swatches and then starting the sweater, which I'm going to show you. And the sweater is called the Ever Change sweater. It's a sweater designed by Peppergoose or Susan Walsh, and you can buy the pattern on Raverly, for example. And at the moment there is a make-along happening where you can kind of do the pattern together. And Friday the 10th of December was like the first day of the mall. So then it officially started, but of course, if you wanted to stay on track, I guess it was better to start earlier. So earlier I started with the swatches, and this is the first swatch that I made, and this one was too small. I was only a few stitches off, but that would mean that my garment, my sweater, would be too tight. And that's not what I want. So I changed the size of the crochet hook, because this is crochet hook number 3 3mm. And then I made a second swatch that's 3.5mm. The difference is in size isn't huge, but like I said, I wasn't very far off. And when you compare the two together, it's really a small difference. Like, as you can see, it's just very, very slightly wider and slightly longer or taller. And when I made the swatch, the second swatch, I was also off by one stitch, only one stitch. And I asked in the group, because you can join the Facebook group for this sweater, if that was close enough, because I made one stitch too many in a row. And the designer said that it's fine if my gauge, if my tension stays the same, then it will be like 5% wider, my sweater, and I think I don't mind. Although I am making a size larger, because as far as I can tell from the sizes, I am in between sizes, and I decided to choose the bigger size, and then it will be bigger, so I might end up with an oversized sweater. Although it will not be like the oversized by design sweater, but just bigger sweater than I need. But I prefer it this way than to have a sweater that is too tight. This is my first garment, so I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea how to tell if it's the correct size. So I'm hoping that this will just be slightly larger and it will just be looser, and I will feel more comfortable in it. So we'll see how that goes. But that's precisely why I didn't choose to go with the official yarn, this Hapius yarn that the sweater is designed for and with, because it is expensive yarn. And I decided, if I make a mistake, if it doesn't go really well, I'll feel like I'm wasting money. So I decided to go for a cheaper option, and I chose Kolorowe Motki. It's a Polish brand, although I think they also make the yarn in Turkey, as most yarns do, although it says made in the EU, so maybe not in Turkey. And it's just cheaper. It also, I had this one cake already, and I wanted to use that just to have a little less yarn. Although I did have to order some more, of course. I won't be able to finish the whole sweater in just one, with just one cake. So I started using that, and this is what I've made so far. So this is the neck, and we're going top down. So this is the neck part, and this will be the front, these will be arms, and that in the back will be the back. And I'm about halfway where I'm supposed to be by Friday. And I started working on the sweater, I think on Tuesday, so almost a week ago. So I'm not sure if I will really be able to finish by Friday. I probably will be a bit late. What can I say about the sweater? It's not as difficult as I had thought it would be. That's one thing. The only thing that I didn't like was the start, because you start with a foundation double crochet row, or foundation single crochet if you are in the US, and it's a very, very flimsy row, and because I'm making the extra large size, there were quite a lot of stitches to make. It was quite a long row, and then you make a setup row, which is also flimsy still. So I think it would be better to make it in a thicker yarn than I'm doing now. My yarn is made of 3 strands. I think whirls are made of 4 strands. Woolly whirls, I don't know. I've never had a woolly whirl. But I think they are thicker just because it's with wool and not just cotton acrylic. So I think those yarns would be better to make the sweater. It will just make things easier to work around. Also, this yarn is not twisted, so it splits very, very easily. And that's why it's also not the best yarn to work with. Another thing that I have a problem with is the increase stitches. I'm trying to make them as small as I can, but they always end up very, very like holy, as you can see. And the designer said that when you make like a border around here, it will cover some things, like some waviness. If the holes are too big, it won't really be able to solve such a problem. You will see the gaping in here, so I'll have to figure out how to hide it, and that's the problem that I have so far. Also, the sweater is, as you can see, it has holes. I mean, these are not holes. This is just a regular thing that happens when you crochet, and that's why I've always felt very, very cautious about making any garment with crocheting, because this is what I always get. There are holes in stitches, and I'm always afraid that you can see through basically the fabric, and we'll see how that goes. Basically, this is called the raglan, and it's kind of a place where like you join, for example, the arm with the back. So it's kind of a natural division between parts, and I think it will just make things easier to shape and just to see where everything goes, and you will avoid sewing too many things. One of the ways you can make it is basically without really sewing. because you can make everything together in the round once you join everything. But I think I will be making the embroidered version where you put embroidery on the sleeves. So it's best to make the sleeves not in the round, but as rectangles. And after that you embroider on the rectangle and then you sew the sleeves together. But if you don't want the embroidery, you can work them in a round, and then there's pretty much no sewing, I think. I haven't went that far. I haven't gone that far into the design, so I don't know what's happening next, but we'll see. What I can tell is that I've used quite a bit of yarn, but it's still in the first color. And when I looked at the photos of how the creating works, by the time I get to what I'm supposed to have worked in the first part, there should be some change in color. And I think it's possible this is going to happen because I don't have that much of white left, and my rows are still getting longer and longer because every row I make at least 1 stitch of increase, but there are some rows when you make over 5, I don't really remember how many, but definitely over 5 stitches of increase. That's why it takes longer and longer to make those rows. So even though I know better what I'm supposed to do, so I don't have to look at the pattern as much, and I'm kind of in the zone of making the sweater, it just keeps getting longer and longer, so it doesn't take me that much less time. So I'm still in here. Also next week will be more like cross-stitching week, that's why I may not also have so much time for crocheting the sweater. But I will do what I can because it's kind of fun. The pattern isn't very difficult. It's double crochet with spike half treble, or single crochet with spike half double, which basically means you put the half treble or half double not into the stitch in the row below, but 2 rows below. And chains and front or back post half trebles or half doubles in the raglan section. So it's really not very complicated pattern. Once you get the hang of it, it goes pretty smoothly. It just keeps getting larger and larger, and that's it. So that's what I've been making, and I haven't really had the time to work on anything else. Even though I wanted to start a bracelet for the New Year's Eve, I just really didn't have enough time to do that. There's still work to do, and it just doesn't work as well and as fast as I was hoping it would. But that's it. That's all I have for today, and it is quite possible that for the next Crochet and Craft Tube I'll just show you the progress of this sweater. Maybe I will also be unboxing the Crochet Society box, because it should get to me within the next 2 weeks, so I will be able to show it to you as well. And yeah, I think this might be it. I don't think I'll have anything more for you. So you'll just be seeing the progress in the sweater. A piece of advice I can give if you want to start making the sweater, make sure you have enough stitch markers. I'm using quite a lot. All of them are not necessary. All of those that you can see are not really necessary in the pattern, but it's much easier for me to put in here, to put the stitch marker every 20 stitches, just so I can count easier if I make a mistake, or if I want to make sure I have the right number of stitches, or if I need to pause. It's much easier to count back 20 stitches than 50 or 60, as there will be in the future. In the future there will be over 100 stitches, so I think it will make things easier if you use stitch markers. At the beginning you are advised to put 2 stitch markers. Oh, I put one away for some reason. I guess it just slipped away. But 2, 4, 6, 8. So 8 stitch markers at the beginning, just to mark where your raglan will happen. But yeah, stitch markers can be pretty useful with this pattern. So make sure you have enough for it to make your work comfortable. If you've liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Comment if you want to ask something or give some advice, or just you want to say something, and consider subscribing if you want to see the progress in this ever-change sweater make-along. Thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time.